welcome back to the Always Reading Book Club. It is your girl Kiki Reader, and we have made it to the third and final book of the Reckless series by Gina Robinson. Now, if you haven't listened to the first two books in the series, those reviews, those links are going to be available down below in the description section. Once you finish those reviews, come and join us as we dive into the third and final book, Reckless Together. Ellie is now back at her dorm. She's thinking about everything, getting herself worked up, and she decides she just needs to go ahead and give her mom a call. So her mom picks up on the first ring, and her mom is talking to her, and her mom's like, "You must have lost your virginity." And she's like, "What are you talking about?" She says, "The way you are so protective when it comes to Logan. Yeah, you've done it by now. I can hear it in your voice." So they have their back and forth because, of course, she was calling to be like, "What's your angle with Logan?" I don't know if I would think they had slept together because of that. I would more so think she's thinking that way because you screwed her last boyfriend. I'm just saying. So her mother knows that Mother's or Mommy's weekend is coming up, and she wants to be there. And so she figures, you know what, I might as well just invite her. That way I'll have a handle on the situation. Because if she doesn't, her mom's going to pop up. And if her mom's pops up, you don't know how it's going to go. And so she tells her, "Fine, come to the mom's weekend." And now Melissa is so excited. She is going to reach out to Jason, Ellie is, to kind of give him the heads up to let her know. She doesn't want to do this, but she also doesn't want her mother to like ruin this great thing that she has. So she gets off the phone with her mom. Her friends come in, Taylor and Nick, and they talk, and she tells them she lost her virginity, but she doesn't give a lot of details. They, of course, want the details. She then talks about the mom. They think she's overreacting, but she's like, "No, I know my mom." So they're going to try and run interference and help her stay busy. So then she gets a call from Dex. He's upset because he just found out that Falcon 26 is Logan. And he thought that Ellie was in on it because her friend Taylor had tweeted out, Falcon 26 is Logan. So she was like, trust me, I had no clue that was him, you know? And eventually she's able to convince him that she really didn't know. So then she asked him for help with her mom. And he's like, "What do you want me to do? Sleep with her?" And she's like, "No, I don't want you to do that." He's got to figure out some stuff to do as well because his mom is coming, you know? So that was a fun conversation to read, just them two going back and forth. I like that he never had this like crush on her. He really just he wanted to be her friend. And they really have a good friendship. I like this. But I'm like, this shit is going to be wild with all the moms descending on the university, especially Ellie's mom. I'm like, oh gosh. Melissa, Melissa, Melissa. She goes through her classes, gets through the day, and then she decides to call Austin because it's just kind of on her mind. She's trying to figure out how did they get to that point. Did the mother seduce him over a period of time? Was it that one and done thing? Like, how did that happen? So she calls Austin. He picks up right away, and basically he said that it started off with her mom coming to him saying that she was really concerned about Ellie. And then it started becoming her talking about her problems. And then her listening to him talk about his problems. And it was like a slow burn, basically. And when she called him on that fateful day, something told him not to go, but he still went because it was like, you know, she was a older but hot version, right? And Ellie at that time wasn't putting out. So it's like, here was this woman that wanted him. He knows he made a horrible choice, but he was kind of like, they both just made a bad choice, right? Apparently, his parents are suing Doug because Doug beat the brakes off of that boy. So he's got a bunch of hospital bills and all kind of stuff like that. But he says he has a lot of regret. He knows that, he was wrong in what he did, which I mean, it shouldn't have took that, that's pretty evident. He knows about Logan punching Schwartz because Schwartz is his friend and, of course, told him about it. And he says he wish he could go back and that they could at least be friends, because he really does miss her. We also find out that when she started dating him, she kept her mom away from him for a very long time. So it's almost, I don't know, does the mom not want to see her happy? Like, it's so weird. Or did the mom suspect that he was no good and she was trying to prove that point? I don't know. I mean, you can prove that point another way. You don't have to actually, screw the person to figure that out. You know what I mean? That's the part that kind of makes me not believe that was her reasoning behind it. Because it's like, you could have done anything. And now she is stuck with, she always knew her mom was beautiful. Everyone always looked at her mom as this beautiful person. But like, now it's terrifying that your mom can get so close to what you have. And she's has paranoia. And I get it. It's totally understandable. So they get off the phone and she just hopes that Logan doesn't fall for her crap and it never comes to that type of a situation. I hope so too, because that would be awful. We then switch to Logan's POV. I was so happy. Okay. I was hoping it would have happened in the other books, but it didn't. But I'm like, we finally got it. Because I so wanted to know what was going on in that man's, from his perspective. So Logan is sitting there thinking about how much he loves Ellie, how much he loves being with her, and how much he wants to protect her, right? And he's supposed to be writing like a 40-page paper, and this paper is a huge deal. Like, this is going to determine if he graduates or not, but he just can't concentrate. Well, then his phone rings and he answers it, and it's Melissa. So Melissa tells him basically, that she knows based on her daughter's voice on that phone, they fucked. She knows, okay? And he's like, how could you, And she says it's still how protective she is of you. But again, she's always been very protective of him. But this is I guess, first time she's talked to her. So maybe that's why it seems so much. I don't know. But anyway, she tells him she's coming to the mother's weekend. Melissa wants to know if his mother's coming. If so, she would, of course, like to have like a meetup. And we find out Melissa has thought all this time that they were together because that was a part of the whole deception, to keep feeding her the information so that she wouldn't just pop up. Because clearly it sounds like girl was ready to pop up on that campus to see her daughter, especially since she was not picking up the calls, the emails, nothing. Returning emails, returning text messages. She was doing nothing. So he was able to keep her at bay, but he couldn't let her know that they had broken up. We also find out that Melissa knows about the ordeal that went down with him and Dr. Rogers. Um, Melissa apparently had a RAPE situation, and this is where they bonded. Again, I don't know if this really happened to her, or if she used knowing this to bond with him to try and pull him. I don't know. That's what happens when you lie and you do fucked up shit. Is people then start to doubt everything you say and they doubt your motives. So I'm not sure. But according to her, she says that happened to her, and she's never told Ellie about it. She doesn't want to tell Ellie about it. And again, I'm just trying to decipher if it's true or not. We'll see. Hopefully, they'll give us a conclusion to that because I think that's pretty important. We need closure on that. So, when she talked about having that happen to her, I'm wondering, like, okay, I hope Jason wasn't the person that did it to her. He doesn't appear to be that way, right? Doesn't give off that vibe. But what if that was the reason that she never told her that that was her father, right? Because he was the person that RAP'd her, and that's what she comes from. So what if he's hiding it? What if he is a bad dude? I don't know. Oh, so many questions, so many questions. But we'll see, we shall see, we shall see. My thing is I just don't want her, if Logan and Ellie don't work out, I want it to be because they realize they can't make it work. I don't want it to be another interference from the mother. Um, Clearly the Austin guy won right for her. He won shit. I get that, but that don't mean you have to continuously do that to every dude that she's with. She's got to be able to find out they're no good another way. Melissa also knows about him testifying in the Dr. Rogers case, and she admits and she says that Ellie, has a good heart. She's a good person. Again, I don't know if this is her form of tough love. I have so many questions. So he says he says like when you talk to Melissa, she goes from caring to selfish. It's like in and out. It's so weird because you would think of a selfish person having a hard time even faking that they care, but it's like she goes in and out of those two personalities. Basically, it's wild. It's really wild. So he hangs up and he gets another phone call from his mom. She now knows the date that the trial is going to start. She, of course, is going to be there. She says, your dad's going to be in a meeting, but Caleb is going to come as well because he sprained something. So he's on the injury list. So he's going to be doing rehab at the university. So this is ramping up on Logan, right? This whole thing. And there's going to be some really gory details. He already didn't tell Elle everything about the incident, and if she's in court, she'll have to hear it all. He doesn't know if she's ever going to get that stuff out of her head. And he also was a little disappointed with the brother because they used to be a lot closer. Like before, he would have known that his brother had injured himself and was on the injury. He would have known all of this stuff. So it shows the distance that they have. I'm gonna be with him. I don't know if she can handle it because things get stuck in Elle's head. So I don't know if it would be a good idea. I know she would want to be there for support. I just don't know if it would be good for her. I kind of feel the way Logan does. We switch back to Ellie's POV. Bree comes in pissed off. She's found out that Dan has been texting with his old high school girlfriend, and she is so pissed off. She has taken the man's phone. She still has his phone, and she don't went back shit crazy. Now normally I wouldn't say that, okay? Normally, okay, you get cheated on, you being upset, all of that stuff, trust me, I get it. Totally get it. I'm gonna tell you why I thought this heifer, why I call her crazy. So she says what happened. I guess Dan was in the bathroom. His phone dinged, and she read the text message, and then she opened his phone and saw all the text messages. Right. So she left. Didn't confront him or anything. She just left. Came back to the room, huffing and puffing. She has this attitude of this woman is not going to take him away from me. That's her attitude. Because you got to think, Bree's been fighting hard to get this man. So she's not pissed at him that he's he cheated on. Like, she's mad about that. But the way she sees it so that she can continue to keep this, try and be with this guy, is it's the woman's fault. And she's not going to take him from me. You done took this man's phone. She then proceeds to take a picture of her boobs and send them to the girl and tell them, she's texting like she's him, saying, my girlfriend's got better tits than you do. I said, oh gosh. No, 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 no. This ain't gonna work. This not gonna work. Mm-mm. Then she's like, she's not done. She is not done. So in Elle's mind, Ellie's like thinking, she always felt like Dan wasn't really into Bree. He just kind of dealt with her until he pretty much got somebody he wanted, because he wasn't actively pursuing Bree. Bree was always calling him, trying to hang out, trying to do stuff. So this behavior to her isn't shocking. On top of the fact, when they met, he was looking her up and down, right? So she already knew what type of guy this was. But Bree, honey, is unhinged. Ellie's trying to tell her, you don't need to do this, all this kind of stuff. And Bree just unleashes on her, which is let me know this is the way she's been feeling the whole time. She's like, oh, you think you're so great because you have a hot boyfriend. He's no good. He pretended to be someone for months, you know? And you just got back with him, like he's not a good person. So she's thinking, she's upset, but I'm like, nah, this bitch saying how she feel. She's pissed off because let's be real, you didn't have to run behind Logan. Logan been running behind you. And he's the hottest guy at the university apparently, whereas she chasing down this dude and he probably he ain't even the greatest. So there's jealousy there. And so she's one of those type of people, they're in relationships and they're not going to leave the relationship based on how they feel. Doesn't matter that the relationship is trash. Doesn't matter if they get treated like trash. They have decided this is the relationship they're going to be in, and that's where they're going to be. When you have someone like that, there is nothing you can do. You just have to let them live their life. And it'll crash. And if it crashes and burns, or if it goes, who cares? You just have to let them live their life, because there is no talking any sense to her. And when she started trying to come back with the attacks, when all Elle was saying to her is like, girl, you don't need to be doing this. Like, that's for her sake. She was saying that. And you turn it into, now I'm gonna personally attack you. That's why you don't tell people shit. You let people be. You want to be upset. Let them be. Because the minute you say something, you're now the enemy. I never liked Brie. So none of this behavior with her shocks me. I've been waiting for the Dan guy to do this to her. I'll be honest, I have. But yeah, she all out of pocket. So Ellie gets out of there, and when she leaves, Bree throws a glass perfume bottle at the door, and she's like, I bet you it was my favorite one. So she leaves, she calls Logan to tell him what happened. Logan's like, come and stay with me. Get you some clothes for a few days. Give her some time to calm down. And you just stay with me. So she's like, okay, yeah, but I need some coffee. He's like, okay, I'll meet you at the coffee grind. So they go to the coffee grind. They're having this old passionate kiss. And she tells him about mom's weekend. He tells her he knows because her mom, Melissa, had already called him. She did not like that. He told her about his mom, Caleb, coming and his dad. And she, of course, well, if your dad starts some shit, like I'm not going to let him start anything. Like she was, she'll defend her baby. And he loves, of course, that protective side of her. And then they both hear Ellie, Logan. It was her dad, Jason. I almost called him James, and I know his name is Jason Front. So Jason, of course, didn't know they were back together because this just happened last night. So he's surprised to see them. And she's like, Dad. And he's like, we just got back together last night, blah, blah, blah. He's like, okay. So then he says to Logan, are you going to come back and work for me? And Logan's like, you serious? And he said, yeah, you were my best tech. And Logan says, well, absolutely. So they both seem to be happy about this. Logan has, no, I'm sorry. Jason asked if Logan's mom was coming. And he said, yeah, she's going to come. And he was about to ask Elle. And she was like, don't even go there. But I think she should have gone ahead and told him. I got a feeling the mom might pop up earlier. Could be wrong. But it just seems like her MO is, if I'm not getting the attention, I'm going to find a way to get it. So, we shall see. So, Jason went to go get his coffee, and Logan's like, you need to tell him. So he'll be prepared. But she is so terrified that her mom is going to try and handle Jason, and what if Jason, has this long lost love for her mom and it ruins his current marriage. She really loves Lissa. Like she's got all these thoughts and she just wants to protect this family that she has. But to me, telling him and giving him the heads up is protecting that family. But anyway, so then they leave from there. They go back to his place. Zabe's there, and he's just kind of like, don't be too loud. I got a headache from a hangover. So they go in Logan's room. They're kissing. They're going at it. They have their little sex session. And he says to her, like, he puts on the protection, but he does say to her that he would like to be able to go inside of her with no barrier someday. Of course, she ain't trying to get pregnant. Um, because all she can think of is how her mother made her feel like she was a mistake, right? And she doesn't want to make a child feel that way. So, I get it. She asked him afterwards how many women, and he was like, honestly, I don't know. It was a lot. I was in a dark place. I was drunk and high for most of those hookups. I really couldn't tell you, the number. And he tells her, but I am clean, but I can get another test to prove it to you. So we switch to Logan's POV. He, of course, absolutely loves having Ellie here. She's like the first woman he's ever just wanted to be with exclusively, which is weird and different for him. And at the same time, he loves it. So then when they were talking with Jason had brought up about a recommendation letter for grad school. And this, of course, means an extra, 1 or 2 years. And he doesn't really necessarily, that wasn't something he was planning on doing. And he could tell that Elle got really happy when this was mentioned, right? Because that means that keeps him at the university. But he's kind of ready to go. So she winds up asking him, why did you never tell me about, you know, grad school, like the possibility of that. He was like, we just got back together last night. She's like, yeah, but even when you were Falcon 26, we would talk about a lot of personal stuff. Why wouldn't you say anything? And I'm wondering if he didn't for a couple reasons. Maybe he's not sure about it. Maybe that would have given her enough of a clue that it could have been him. It could have been a few reasons why he didn't say anything. He starts having thoughts about how much, he hates Dr. Rogers and what she did to him. He gets really upset with himself because he feels like he should have been able to control himself in spite of the drugs, because he didn't find her attractive at all. He winds up telling Ellie that he doesn't want her to be at the trial. She looks hurt, but he just feels like if she hears that stuff, it'll never get out of her head. And like I said earlier, I concur. I feel like that's what would possibly happen. Elle does tell him, like, well, at least apply for grad school, like, at least keep your options open. But I kind of feel like, but this is you being incredibly selfish, because one of the hardest things, the worst things happen to him at this place. Um, and you want him to stay kind of for your benefit. That's selfish to me. That's really selfish. Plus, it's like, he's a senior. I don't know why nobody thought about this shit. He's a senior. What did you think that meant? Like, you have to really look at stuff. But now you're just in it and you're just in love. And now it's like, oh my gosh, end of this year, he would leave. And now you're like, how am I going to do this? But it is what it is. So then we switch back to Ellie's POV. It's the next morning. She wakes up. Logan tells her he's decided to at least schedule the interview for the graduate program. She gets all happy. He said, don't get too happy. It's just an interview. I have not decided. And he tells her, you need to tell Jason about your mom. He's like, and you need to do it before I go in to work today, because he's going back today for work. And she's like, fine. She doesn't want to, but she's like, she'll do it. So she goes back to her dorm room, smells awful. It was her favorite perfume that was thrown by Bree against the door, shattered everywhere. Bree should be in class, but she, of course, is moping in bed. We find out that the picture she sent to the girl knew one of his friends, and she sent it to him. And the friend, that's when Dan realized he doesn't have his phone. So he came to the dorm room to get his phone from her. He called her a crazy bitch. He said it's over. Wants nothing to do with her. And she's sitting there going, he'll pay. He'll pay. So that's why I was like, yeah, I knew this bitch was crazy. This is another level right here. Because, yes, it's fucked up that he cheated on you. That is fucked up. But he clearly don't want you. But you doing all of this. It's just, But anyway, it's like that movie. He's just not that into you. But you want to force stuff. But it doesn't change that he's just not that into you. So anyway, I digress. Ellie was still nice to the bitch. I mean, she gave her some water and some headache medicine, because she clearly could see she cried all night. And she got ready and she left and went on about her day. So she goes to see Jason, asks him if he had a minute. And he, of course, is like, for my oldest daughter, of course. He's sweet. I really hope he's not the person that did something to Melissa. But anyway, so she tells him, first she talks about the trial and the fact that Logan doesn't want her there. And then he tells her, and then she talks about, the graduate program and stuff like that. And he just kind of lets her know, you kind of got to understand where he's coming from and maybe not wanting to stay here. I know that's not what you want to hear, but something awful happened to him here. So it's you need to be prepared for the fact that he really might make that choice that, you know what, I'm going to skedaddle. I'm not going to stay here. You need to be prepared for that. She just wanted to make sure he didn't try and persuade Logan to leave. And he's like, no, I'm not going to try and persuade him, but he needs to do what's best for him, you know? When it comes to the mom coming, he wanted to meet up with Melissa, but she's like, could you please just stay away? I don't want to upset her. I don't want to make this, a problem. Please just give me this. At another time, we'll talk and we'll do that. But just for right now, please. And so he agreed. But he's like, but we are going to have to tell her at some point. Logan has scheduled the interview basically out of pity for Elle. He has no intentions of sticking around this university. He wants to get the hell out of Dodge. We find out the money that he gave to Amber, he's not going to get anything else, I think, until he turns 25, if I'm not mistaken, and it's, money from his trust fund. So, yeah, that's a big deal. We also find out he's being really nasty emails and letters from people saying that, he wanted it to happen and all this type of stuff. Um, so, yeah, lots going on. And he hasn't told Elle about that as well. But again, they just got back together. It's been 5 seconds. I'm just saying. So, he gets a call from Amber. Amber tells him the IPO is scheduled to go live April 8th. He says, oh shoot, that's the day he's supposed to testify. She's trying to get him not to testify, as well as saying that, afterwards she wants to be able to celebrate. The way she's describing it, he knows she wants to fuck. So he wants her to believe it because right now he's got this business deal with her. He doesn't need her feeling some type of way and trying to screw him. So afterwards he'll let her know that he's back with Elle or whatever. He just can't, right now the concentration has to be on the company going public, and hopefully him recouping and making some money so that he can get from underneath his father. So then our girl Ellie goes back to the room. Bree still is in hibernation. She goes to Nick and Taylor's room. They, of course, are like, give her some grace. You were down and out too long ago, as well. But I don't remember her throwing somebody's fucking shit and breaking it. And I don't remember her saying nasty shit to people either. She was sulking to herself. Okay? That's the difference. That's why Bree to me is such a bitch. I ain't nobody got time for you in this, unleashing of your bullshit because a dude that didn't want you treated you like he didn't want you. You understand what I'm saying? Like, don't try. It's not the same. But anyway, she's going to give her the benefit of the doubt. We'll see how that works out. They've come up with a plan on how to keep her mom preoccupied since her mom likes young dudes. They're going to try and put her at, keep them at the frat parties. They have basically planned the weekend down pack to make sure she can get through the weekend without her mom causing some fuckery. So we shall see if this works. She gets a call from Dex. Oh, she also messaged Jason the schedule so he knows where to lay low from as well. So then she gets a call from Dex. He's like, help me, I gotta plan some stuff for my mom to do. So she's like, no worries, we're planning that now. But he also wants to do a prank. And I'm like, Dex wants to go down as like the greatest prankster of all time, I swear. She winds up calling Logan. Logan's just like, just come stay with me for a few days while Bree's going through it. Just stay with me. So she told him about her schedule that she has for the mom's weekend. And he took her out, got her some something to eat. She packs some clothes and she's just going to stay with him for a few days. So they fuck afterwards. He falls asleep. He has a dream. And it's like, at first, it's Elle that's like writing him. And then Elle morphs into Dr. Rogers. But when he wakes up, it of course, it's a whole ass nightmare. He wakes up with the sweats, terrified. So she had a good reaction. She didn't look at him in disgust. She got some water for him. She rubbed his back and helped him calm down. So when he apparently was like with Kels, they could have had something, but the first time he had a nightmare, she had this look of pity and kind of horror kind of look on her face, and he could never get over that. So I think the Kels girl kind of fucked her own self, and now she's still in love with him, clearly. But Elle's reaction was what he needed, right? Someone loves him, not judging him, not making him feel bad for the fact that he's still dealing with the trauma of being assaulted. You know what I mean? So that's a super good thing. We also find out that Logan has had a few offers from some jobs that are not in the Seattle area. Everything is far away, like California or further, because he had put in to like basically get away from this university. He wanted to be as far away as possible. He's even got some shit in South Carolina. But because, he thought they weren't going to be together, him and Elle, and he also wanted to get the fuck away from where this woman, Dr. Rogers, was. Because remember, he was never going to say anything. So his initial thing was just to run away. Next few days pass, same kind of thing keeps happening. Wakes up in the middle of the night. She gets him some water. She rubs him, calms him down. She's starting to realize what is probably going on in those dreams, that it's her, and she's morphing into Dr. Rogers. And the fact that she's triggering that makes her feel some type of way, right? Because she only wants to help him. So she's at his place. Colin comes in. He's got the mail. He throws out a big envelope for Logan, and he says it's probably another job offer. And Colin was like, I wish I'd have taken school more seriously, but partying is just so much fun. And I don't want to have to go back home and work in the family business because that's what his dad does and he looks miserable. So he's like, but I should have did what Logan's doing. Well, this of course makes her feel some type of way. And Logan comes out, sees the envelope, and he knows, it's going to be tense now because this is another job offer. So she's trying to be supportive, and she says, we can look at it together. You don't have to keep this stuff away from me. But then she does tell him, after he goes ahead, he opens it up, and she says, is that a good amount? And he says, yeah, it's a really good offer. And she knows these offers could pull him away from her. And so she does something that I think is selfish. I mean, yes, it's the truth of what's going on, but it's selfish. So she says, that she wants to be here for at least another year to finish her degree, as well as, getting to know Jason, being around Lissa and Mia, the new baby. And she can't transfer again. She doesn't want to lose any more credits. Because she's transferred. And she's like, I'm not trying to pressure you. I'm just, telling you the reality of the situation. But it's like at the same time, but you are, right? You're telling him what it is that you need or what you want to do. And you got to think, all this stuff that happened with him, this was all set, this was lined up before you existed. So it's just kind of like, I don't know, but I do get it. You all do need to talk about this stuff. But it doesn't need to come across as a threat, right? Like, I'm staying here. If you go away, why are you not up for a long distance relationship if you have such undying love for him? You know what I mean? I kind of feel like with what he's been through with being assaulted at this school, her attitude, to me, this is just me, it should just kind of be, listen, I'm not going to leave, okay? I'm not going to follow you because I need to finish school, and I just finally have a dad in my life. I don't want to lose that, right? But I don't want us to not be together. So to me, long distance is what would be the logical option for us. You know, that's what I feel like her attitude should kind of be. But she never brings up a long distance relationship. It's really just like, well, I'm staying here, you know? In her head, she decides she's going to go talk to one of the CAPSA counselors um, because she doesn't know what to do. And he's running away. She knows he is, and she's befuddled. And he does this program CAPSA where he, walks people home, if it's late at night or just different places so that they don't feel like they're alone. And so she's gonna go in and talk to that woman, and the woman tells her, like, what it is when he's with you, he loses control, and he equates losing control to being what was done to him by Dr. Rogers. And so that's why I guarantee you that's what his dream is doing. And she's like, well, how do I fix it? And she's like, well, you have to show him that losing control with you doesn't mean something bad, something terrible is going to happen. It's not the same as what was done to him. She's like, it's not going to be easy, and it's honestly something you just have to figure out how to do. So after that, which kind of told her what she already knew, she goes to talk to Dex. He's in the middle of trying to, plan a goddamn prank, and she eventually says, you lied to me. You told me you didn't see Logan's picture, but I need to know everything that you saw on Dr. Rogers' computer. Eventually, Dex tells her what he saw, and he also erased the shit, which is, I'm thinking, stupid. But anyway, what he saw it was a sex tape. It was clearly a hidden camera, and you see them coming to the scene. Dr. Rogers is like holding Logan up because he can barely walk. She lays him on the bed. She takes his dick out. She strokes it, and she's touching herself. She's got like saggy titties. She's an older woman. I was thinking, honestly, and I'm not trying to be shady at all, but I was just thinking that she was like this fit woman for some reason. She was older, but she was, fit, and he just didn't want it. But this seems like she was possibly gross to him, which I can understand why will make it even worse if what the woman looks like is if she's gross. So that's wild. But anyway, she puts the condom on him, and then she rides him and fucks him until he comes. And throughout it, he's trying to say someone else's name, but you can't make it out. But you can clearly tell that he did not want her, that it was not consensual. It's very clear. Which I was like, he shouldn't have deleted that shit. But he was thinking, Elle's not going to be able to take this, and Logan don't want nobody to know this shit. That's what he was thinking, and that's why he deleted it. So her thought now is, okay, I need to take over that memory. I need to make it a good one. So she's thinking she needs to basically get on top, right? Take control. Show him that her taking control is not the same as Dr. Rogers. I'm like, I think this is going to fuck up some shit. I don't know if he's ready for this. We shall see. So after that, she goes back. I think she goes back to his place, and they're having their fun, and she tries to take charge. And when she takes his dick out and she's about to sit on it, he goes, "Not like this." And he turns her over. He always got a condom on, and he drills into her, pounds her until they come. Well, then after, she was looking sad, and he bruised her a little bit because, I mean, they were going at it rough. Like, they were banging. It was hitting against the walls. So then she's like, "It's not your fault. I bruised easily, X, Y, and Z." So then he gets a phone call, and before the call, she had told him, like, "I want to be on top next time." She wants to be able to take charge. Phone rings. He takes the phone, goes in the bathroom, which just makes her even more upset, even more so the feeling of, he's pulling away from me, he's pulling away from me. We switch to Logan's POV. It's Amber on the phone. She's saying that they've hit a snag. So apparently, a competitive company called Core is saying that they have the same technology and they're going to roll it out within a month or so. And he's like, "That's not true. I did the research, blah, blah, blah." Well, Amber says that Harlan has some ties to the Core company. She's thinking, what if he's behind telling them things? You need to try and smooth it over with him or get him to back off. So she's going to be coming to the Mother's Weekend as well, because she's supposed to be a keynote speaker at some event because someone had canceled. And then she's like, hopefully we can catch up. We know catching up with her means she's trying to fuck. But anyway, this is a lot that he's put into this investment. I mean, that money could have paid for grad school if he decided to do that. It could have paid for an apartment. A lot of stuff that instead it's wrapped up now in this investment. So now he's wondering if he's fucked himself. So then we find out that when Ellie had said to him how she wanted to be on top, it made him physically ill. He wanted to throw up. He never lets anyone do that after the incident. Like, it does not happen. So when he comes out, she of course is pissed. She's saying, "I'm just gonna go ahead and go back to the dorm room." He's like, "No, stay, blah blah blah." But he's just hoping that she doesn't ask him for that again, because that's not something that he can give her. He cannot let her be on top. She said something about a party because the guys, Zave and Colin, were talking about a party. She's like, "Maybe you guys should throw a party. That'll be something to do." So then we switch back to Ellie, her POV, and she does stay the night, and he has another nightmare. She tries to make a joke about it, saying, "I'm gonna start bringing a pitcher of water next to the bed," but he didn't find it funny. He eventually goes back to sleep, and she's got an idea of how she's going to make her plan work. So she's thinking the party, he's going to be drinking, he'll be more relaxed. And I'm like, girl, that's the shit the bitch did. She gave him a drug, you know what I mean? But gave him a drug to make him relax so she could do what she wanted to him. I'm like, girl, this is not a good idea. Next morning, she wakes up, she tries to kind of do the touching him thing, and he don't even want to fuck. So yeah, she know he's still probably mad. Um, she's gonna go back to her place, her dorm, and he didn't want to take her. He kept saying, "You can stay here." She's like, "I got laundry to do. I don't have anything to wear for the party." So eventually, he took her back. So Bree is up. She's still in a funk, but the reason why she's half alive is because Dan got into an accident that wrapped his car around a tree, and he got charged with a DUI. His parents are pissed off at him, and his girlfriend, she dumped him because now he doesn't have a car, and this made her feel a little bit better. And Ellie is kind of like, "How do you know this? Because you unfriended him on all the social medias, but there's a way how to creep online." she found another avenue and she found out all this info. So then Ellie tells her, my mom's coming, and she's like, kind of like, really? Like, Bree didn't think she would have invited her mom. And she's like, yeah, she's coming. And I don't know how Bree's going to react because she done been showing her ass. I don't know. We'll see how that works. Again, Bree didn't even care about her friends until she was in a fight with Dan or when he ended it. Other than that, she really didn't give a fuck. That's just the truth. So she goes and talks to Nikki, and they're going to wash clothes and they're going to sunbathe. She tells Nick her idea, and Nick's like, I don't know if that's a good idea. And she's like, but I'm really I could lose him. And I'm like, yeah, and you could also lose him doing stupid shit. So I'm glad Nick kind of threw a little, like, another option for her to look at it through. Like, I don't know if that's gonna be good. It looks like you're doing the same thing, taking advantage. It might make it worse. It's their date night, and he's late picking her up, and he also signed up for CAPSA, which means that he's on call for the night, so he's not going to be drinking. She's, of course, is upset because if someone reaches out, he's got to leave and go walk them home. Um, but also her plan, she can't do it, which I'm glad because it wasn't a good plan, and I don't think she needed to do that shit. They go to the event. The Kelsey girl shows up. Kelsey clearly is very much in love with Logan, and Elle can kind of see that Zave looks at Kelsey like with this longing look. So he's clearly got a thing for her. And so Logan gets a call to go and pick up someone, walk someone back to their dorm. And Elle is like, just take me back to my place. And he's like, are you sure? She's like, yeah, I don't want to, like, stay here. I don't trust Zavi and Colin to get me back home safe. He's like, I just want to go back to, she was like, I just want to go back to my dorm room. He's taking her back, and she makes the comment that I think Zave has a thing for Kelsey. And he says, really? He doesn't stand a chance. And she says, of course he doesn't. Not when she's still in love with you. And you clearly are still stringing her along. And he just kind of looked like, what? So she said to him, like, you need to stop giving her false hope. You need to cut that off. So she gets out, she leaves, and Bree is like, what happened? And they go look up some website, and there's this fan page for him. How grateful people are that he walks them, you know, home and different things. And she freaks out because she clearly sees that these people, he's got a lot of support, right? So she's happy about that. The trial's coming up, he's going to have support. But she's going to look like the worst girlfriend if she's not there to support him. But she's got to, at the same time, I guess, uphold his wishes, right? If he doesn't want her there. Bree apparently is waiting for some message to come through. She's jumping every time her phone, dings. And eventually she convinces her to go and get ice cream with her. So we then switch to Logan's POV. He's driving away, and he sees that he left her flowers in the car, but he's too far to turn back. He goes and walks the girl Amy home. She's shocked that he's as nice as he is. She thought he was doing this for some publicity stunt. And he says no. He explains, the reason he does it. And she just kind of says, I'm going to be rooting for you. Good luck at trial. So he goes home. It's 4 a.m. He knows about the fan page. And people always ask to take selfies and shit like that. He goes to sleep, wakes up probably around 2 in the afternoon. Amber called, and she was like, we got an issue. She says that the company wants to hold off 4 to 6 months before they go public because they need a cash infusion. I said, oh no, this is a fucking Ponzi scheme. Ain't no way in hell. I don't trust her. She says they need at least 20 grand from him. He's like, he doesn't have it. She's like, well, then you need to go to your father, X, Y, and Z. They need to make payroll and all this type of stuff. And I'm like, listen, if you at the point that you're not even going to survive 4 to 6 months, this don't seem like a good investment, right? This seemed like you finna lose your initial investment. You finna put more money into it and you're going to lose that shit too. That's what it appears to be doing. So he's thinking he's got some job offers that come with signing bonuses. So he might be able to take care of it with that. But I'm like, that's not a good idea. He asked Colin for the money. Zave, they don't have it. They think the business deal is bad with Amber. And I just think it's going to bite him in the ass. So he leaves, goes to Ellie. He feels horrible. He's like, he's been a bad boyfriend. She's been really understanding. And I'm not doing this right. So she comes out. He gives her the flowers. They look a mess. She goes, gets a vase. And she doesn't kiss him. She'll do anything but touch him. And she's got tears in her eyes. And she goes and sits in front of the computer and pulls up his fan page. And she goes, why didn't you tell me? He says, I didn't do it. I didn't make up the page. And she lets him know that, she understands that what he's doing is really important. It's really helping people. He, of course, are like, you're the best. They start kissing, and he turns her around, bucks her against the wall. He, again, not going to let her ride. So afterwards, she makes a comment that another reason he should reconsider going to grad school is that she's gonna he's gonna miss being able to do this. And he says, I'm probably gonna have to cancel the interview. She freaks out. Why are you canceling it? You promise. He tells her the whole situation with the company with Amber. He's not going to his dad. And she pushes him to ask Caleb. She's like, you were the pitcher. He was the catcher. You helped display how great he was. He owes you. So he's going to ask Caleb for the money. And she felt bad because it's like she's making him do something he really doesn't want to do because she's trying to keep him there. Again, that's the problem I have with this. It's very much like it's one-sided. It's selfish. So their next few days go by. They're humping like rabbits. They use protection. She's also on birth control, but she's on her last pill. She drops it, but she's able to get it. She takes it. She has a panic attack. She's still thinking, what if I get pregnant? It's like all these crazy thoughts she's starting to have. And they wind up going to the interview. Well, he goes to the interview, and she waits in the study lounge, and she gets a text message from her mom. Her mother's asking, what to wear, what's the weather like all this stuff. Eventually, 30 minutes later, Logan comes out. She asked him how it went. He said they were pretty easy on me. They leave and go pick up the t-shirts at this house. And there were a lot of hot girls. So he texted Zave and Collins like, hey, you guys need to get down here. A lot of hot girls. Takes about an hour to get the sweatshirts. They bring them back to Dex. He had created some ink that was heat activated. So when you rub it on, it pops up the word. So he's going to put some type of shit on his. It's a whole thing. And Logan was just like, don't be too mean, basically, because you and your mom, you're trying to get in a better place with her, but I don't know, child. Dex might put, he might not, he might put call this number for a good time. He would do something like this. I mean, it would be funny based on what her ass did. Just saying. They go to Jason and Lissa's place, and they have dinner. They have a good time, and who is it? Melissa now. She's big and pregnant, so She says she wants to meet Melissa. Melissa's like, I feel like we should meet, you know? And Ellie just kind of placates her to say, my mom doesn't like women as friends, and being that Lissa's pretty sensitive right now, she knows her mother will annihilate this woman. So she's just like, she lied. She said someday, but I don't think she has any intention of ever having them meet. But we'll see how this works out. She does notice that while she's talking about Melissa, Logan's fist is kind of balled up like he wants to say something, but he never does. We then switch to Logan's POV. We fast forward a few days. He winds up getting a call from Melissa. She's pissed off because she's gotten the schedule from Elle, and it's like all these frat parties and stuff. And she's like, I don't want to do that. You know? She's trying to make it to where she doesn't have to really be with me. And he's dealing with this testimony that's got to come up. He's dealing with having to come up with this money. You know what I mean? Like, he's got a lot going on. And Melissa calling him with this bullshit. You know? Melissa goes into threat mode and she says, I want to spend time with my daughter. I don't want to do frat parties. I've done enough of those to last a lifetime. And she says, either you invite us to dinner or I'm going to crash your dinner. You choose. I'm like, God dang, the way she do stuff. It's like, and then that'll embarrass Elle. She's collateral damage. It's wild. So he, of course, caves and he calls his mom. And his mom, of course, did not want to invite him, but he threatened her. He was just kind of, it's like these people with the threats. He was like, if you don't let her come and her mom come, I'm not coming. So, of course, she was like, I'll change the reservation. So, Elle and Logan have a good conversation. Basically, he's telling her, what are you going to do? Are you going to accept your mom for who she is? She has the imperfections. Realize that's who she is, not try and change her, and let it be. Or do it her way, which Elle's way is never talk to her again, let her go, just whatever happens to her, she doesn't care. He's like, those are your options. He's like, but either way, you need to get to a place where you don't allow her to affect you. He's like, that's the real triumph. And he knows he's, you know, pot calling kettle black because he needs to do the same thing when it comes to Dr. Rogers as well. Um, but we'll see. So we now are on the day that her mom is going to be there. She texts her and says she'll be there in 5 hours. Bree's mom, she comes in. She's a really sweet lady. And she's afraid her mom's going to annihilate this woman too. Donna seems really nice. And then Nick's mom comes. I forget her name, but she's a little edgier. She seems fun as well. And then eventually she gets the message from her mom, I'm here. Melissa shows up. She's already got some dude named Rusty with her carrying her overnight bag. Her mom looks young. She's 38, but she looks like she could be like 28 or younger. She yells out to her mom, and the guy looks at her like, you're her mom? She says, yeah, and you have a girlfriend, so you need to leave. That's what Elle tells the guy. So she takes her mom in the room. Her mom gives her this bag, and she bought her this dress for tonight, along with some expensive shoes. And at first, she wanted to say no, but Melissa was like, you said you were going to let this be like it is for everyone else, the mother-daughter, like the mother weekend. People here buy things for their kids. I should be able to do the same thing for you. She's like, if you're not going to play nice, then I'm going to go back on what I told you I wouldn't do. So she had promised not to flirt with Logan, not try to seduce him, all this type of stuff. I said, God damn, aren't these what is it called? I don't know, the word just escaped me. I can't think of it. But ultimatums. There it goes. So She's like, fine, fine. It was a great dress and they were great shoes. So the one thing she knows, her mom does have style. Okay. So they get into a little conversation and they talk about Austin. Ellie's like, I loved him. And she's like, and you had Doug. Why would you do that to me? Well, Melissa says, Doug and I were not perfect. Doug was cheating on me. I found receipts of him at strip clubs, phone numbers, different things. So I knew all those business trips weren't business trips. She says, I didn't mean for it to happen with Austin, but it did. She also said, but I didn't come on to him. He came on to me. Should I have resisted? Yes. But I didn't. And I do regret it. So, we got two different stories. I don't know who to believe. I really don't. I don't know if Austin's telling the truth or if Melissa's telling the truth. So, Melissa did say to Ellie, do you really think I was the first person that he slept with outside of you? And she hesitated before she answered. And Melissa says, the fact that you hesitated lets me know that you thought he was doing stuff with other people. He was just like Doug. I just saved you from heartache. But I didn't intend for it to go that way. She says that, how did she say? She says she wants to make things right. That's why she's in town. She's in town to protect her baby. And I'm like, oh shit, I wonder if she knows about Jason. Is Jason the one that raped'd her? Oh my gosh. I'm wondering. We switched to Logan. He's picked up his parents and Caleb from the airport. Harlan's gone directly to the School of Business for his meeting. Caleb and his mom, and who is Sue? That's her name. He took them for lunch and then ice cream, and then they came back. They either came back to his place or to their hotel room. But anyway, he was talking to Caleb. He asked Caleb for the money. Caleb tells him, I would if I could, but I blew through my signing bonus and I blew through most of my salary. So dad's put me in with a financial advisor and put me on a budget, and I can't touch shit unless dad approves it. So it's still looking like he might have to go to his dad. So Caleb said something to him about the fact that Logan is actually the favorite. He's like, your mom's favorite, and dad'll do anything to protect you. He'll sacrifice me to protect you. So it seems like he's always thought Caleb was a favorite, but it appears as if Logan might be. I don't know. It could just again be perception of how you view everything. You know what I mean? So Sue walked in and heard them talking about money, and Caleb goes, he needs money, Ma. You got any? We switch to Ellie's POV, and her mom helps her put on her makeup. She does an amazing job. Ellie looks stunning. She even said to her mom, you've been holding back on me all these years. She's like, no, I just picked up some more steps whenever I go pick up makeup. So when she finishes up with Ellie, Bree comes in with her mom, and Bree is like, can you do mine? So she does hers. She looks great, and she helps the mom pick out an outfit, Donna. So she was being real sweet. They get to the restaurant. They're about 5 minutes late, but Harlan didn't care once he saw her. Now, when they first came in, someone opened the door for them to the restaurant, and the guy gave this look to Ellie that normally only her mom gets it. And it's almost like her mom kind of toned herself down and wanted to make sure Ellie looked her absolute best. Which, I don't know if this is growth. I don't know if this is a scheme. We don't know when it comes to Melissa. But we'll see. Well, when Harlan and Caleb see her, they both look like they're ready to take her. They both look crazy about her. Amber's ass is there because I guess she was there. She had made a reservation for one, And Sue saw her and was like, "Oh no, you should come with," or maybe Harlan was like, "No, you should come with us," because Sue doesn't like Amber. That's right, it was Harlan. So everyone sits down, and Sue wants to be funny, and so she says, "Melissa, what do you do for a living?" And Melissa goes, "Oh, I marry rich men and divorce them to obtain my wealth." I hollered. I'm like, okay, that was funny. Because clearly she was poking. That's a good comeback. And it's the truth, to be honest. So throughout the appetizer entrees, it's like Harlan's trying to talk with Melissa. Caleb's trying to get Melissa's attention. Um, Amber's trying to get in on the conversation. But Melissa is just too much. She's too much. So then Amber gets a phone call. She leaves. And then Melissa was like, I gotta go. She's gonna go to the restroom. And Logan's like, don't you all go in packs, women, you know? And Melissa gives Ellie a warning, like, no, don't come with me. Well, then Caleb gets up and he says, I gotta take a leak. So they leave. Soon as they leave, Harlan goes, I hear you need money. Your mom tells me so. So Sue was like, I don't keep secrets from your father, and you know that. And Harlan was like, I can't believe you use your money to bet on this thing, this flimsy company, all this type of stuff. Logan starts accusing him of being the person that started the rumor that's doing stuff to mess with the IPO. Harlan gets pissed off. He says, I would never do anything like that. I didn't even know anything about your deal until just now, and I don't appreciate you saying stuff like that about me. If you weren't my son, I'd sue you for slander. This is why I think Amber's running some type of fucking Ponzi scheme. I really do. Because it was like she was the one that put in Logan's ear, maybe your father is doing stuff at the other company because he knows people there, you know? So Logan's like, I'm done. We're leaving. Him and Elle go outside and they see Melissa against the wall and Caleb looking like he's about to grab her face and kiss her. Ellie yells out, Mom! And Caleb and Logan are about to fight because Logan's pissed at him for about to do this. And Melissa's like, it's not what you think. Caleb was like, I don't have time for this. I'm going back inside. Melissa unlocked her door. She's like, there was nothing going on. Look at my eye. It's red. There was something in it and he was going to blow it out. That's it. So they go back to Logan's place, drop him off, and she tells him, but well, before they drop him off, Melissa says, I think Amber's double crossing you. She told him what she overheard, which was Amber's conversation where she was saying that the core people, they wanted more intel on the other company, and she was like, if you want to have to double your fee. Now remember, core is that's the competition. So why is she on the phone with core? So he's like, I'm going to do some research. I'm going to get to the bottom of this. He's going to be up all night. And so Elle and Melissa drive back to her place, and she tells her, I was only being flirty because I was trying to figure out who it was that Amber really wants. And she really wants Caleb. When you all weren't paying attention, she kept looking at Caleb. She kept looking at him like she wanted him. Don't get it twisted. She will take Logan if she can. So you still need to be on watch. Remember what I told you. And Ellie says, never trust your man with no woman. And she's like, exactly. So she says she intentionally got up to go use the bathroom after Amber got that phone call because she suspected that bitch was up to something. So they get back to the dorm. Bree's there. Bree is super excited, as is her mom. Apparently when they went to the wing joint, Dan was there. She looked fabulous. This new guy and his mom had room at a table. So Bree and her mom sat with him. The guy was really nice. He asked for her number and he's already texted her. So this is already completely different from what she had going on with old boy Dan. She, gave her number and she had to keep reaching out to him. You know what I mean? And so Melissa's like, well, you have got to tell me all about it. I hope you took pictures. I want to have everything from start to finish. And now Ellie's starting to wonder because she's starting to remember some good things about her mom as well. She thinks maybe she suppressed all of the good and just replaced them with nothing but the bad. And I don't know. Maybe she remembers things a certain way. They could have happened that way. Maybe not. I mean, she did fuck a man. That happened. Next day was brunch. They had a good time. She um got her mom the medium size, but see her mom had fabric tape, so she taped it in so it still looked perfect. They went to the crafts fair and Dex and his mom came, but Dex left her with his mom's name is Beth. He left her there. Beth is a prankster too, so he tried to pull a prank with the sweatshirts, but she had done something else. So she's like, he thinks he's the only person that knows about invisible ink, so she's a ball of fun. Melissa seems to genuinely like her, and they got along great. They both were buying Ellie everything out the yin yang, and when they got ready to leave, Melissa was like, "You can't carry all that stuff back to his dorm. We'll walk you back." So all these different men were like catcalling Ellie. Nobody's really paying Melissa attention, and she thinks that Deck probably had some people do that on purpose, and she appreciated it. We then switched to Logan's POV. He's been up for 36 hours straight. Caleb's been with him, but he thinks he may have found a way to get out of this bullshit with Amber. Um, Melissa was right. She was up to no good. He got accepted into the grad program. He is thinking, okay, this is good. This is another option. So now he is seriously considering it. Um, he kind of feels like he cannot be away from Elle. And at this point, for him, it's a need. And he's never been like that before. So he's leaning into possibly doing the grad student thing. Logan and Caleb go to pick up Melissa and Elle. And right before they picked him up, Caleb kept saying how he needed to get laid. So I'm like, Lord. Caleb's looking at Melissa when she gets in the car like he's ready to pounce. I'm like, damn. So they go to this event. It's like an up all night event. They're dancing. The mom's dancing with Caleb, different people because everybody's stuck on her mom. He's turned on. He's ready to fuck. But she's like, I'm still on my period. He didn't care. He was ready. Ellie got a text from her mom saying she ran into someone. She'll catch up with them later. I said, "Oh Lord, who has she run into? Did she run into Jason?" The suspense. They get back to Logan's apartment and they hear Caleb saying, "Oh my God, I'm gonna fuck you so hard." And all she can think about was, "Oh my God, it's happening again." This scene, her mom's gonna be in there getting fucked. But it's not. Um, Logan goes in and it's Amber. And he was like, "What the fuck in my bed? Like, why are you in my bed?" And so him and Caleb are going at it. And then Sue, Harlan, Melissa show up. And Elle looks at Harlan and is like, "Get in there, stop him." you know? So Harlan goes in there to stop him. Sue goes in there, slaps the shit out of Amber, calls her all kind of names. And Melissa and tells Ellie, like, let's go. This is a family matter. Let them handle it. It'll be a little less awkward if we don't hear everything that goes down. And so she's like, let's go get some ice cream. At first, of course, she didn't want to leave her Logan, but she says he's in good hands. She says, I don't believe Harlan had anything to do with it. because she overheard the conversation, and she says, I don't think he did. He both his parents love him. It's gonna be okay." So she's like, "Okay." So she eventually agrees, and so they go to some mart to go pick up some ice cream, and sure enough, this guy has his head down. He's looking at his phone. Melissa turns into him. Boom! It is Jason Front. He was texting. He had to come and get pampered, so he wasn't paying attention. And she looks at him and she goes, "Jason Front?" Melissa starts screaming, "That's why you came here. You came looking for your father. That's what you were doing." And she started acting unhinged. And Ellie's like, "Yeah, we took a test. He actually is my dad, you know?" And then Melissa goes, "Thank God, thank God, thank God. He's a good dude." And Melissa was like, You know, Ellie's looking, something's going on. And Jason and Ellie are, we got to go talk. So he messages Lista to let her know what's going on. He's going to be a little late. They go to a burger joint across the street. We get the whole story. So Melissa was at this party with this her dude. His name was Guy. That was her boyfriend. When he gets drunk, he gets belligerent. He gets mean. They had a fight. She stormed off. Some guy that looked like he was 25 offered to take her home. She felt like something was off with him, so she said no. But he grabbed her, took her in the back of the car, RAPD'd her, right? So then she kicked him, as soon as she could, was able to like get away from him. She ran to someone's house and she called Jason. And then Jason came and got her. They hooked up. So when she had the baby, her mother, Melissa's mom, was like, "You need to get child support from Guy." And Guy was like, "I want a paternity test," because he knew that Jason had come and picked her up. So when the test came back negative for Guy, she was like, "Oh no, it could either be Jason's or the rapist." And so Jason had already left for college, and she didn't want to take the test and it come back and not be his, because then that meant Ellie came from that rapist. And so Jason, he had asked, he's like, "Well, what happened to the serial, the other guy?" And she says, comes to find out, he was a serial rapist, and he's now serving 25 plus years. But she says, you would look at, you would do certain things and I would think you were possibly his, but then I was like, no, that's just me hoping. She was like, "But God, I'm so thankful you're his. I'm so thankful." She's like, "Because he's such a good person." And she's like, "I knew you should have been his because you had such a good heart." And it was really sweet, but it's like, okay, thank goodness Jason's not the bad person, and we now know why she kind of held the secret, because at the same time it was her trauma and she was terrified of it. It's kind of wild. Um, they stayed there till like 2 o'clock in the morning talking, and then her and Ellie talked for the rest of the morning, and they never went to sleep. And when she is gonna come back so she can meet Melissa, Mia, and the new baby, and so she does want to meet everyone. So it turned out to be a great visit. Now it doesn't mean that her and her mom are gonna be best friends, but I think they're gonna have a better understanding of one another. And I think as she gets older, she'll understand her mom more and more. And her mom genuinely seems to love her, and I was happy about that because I was afraid she was just gonna be the worst person. I really was. She gets a call from Logan. She tells him it was a great visit, and he was ready to tell her what happened. And she's like, "Well, Melissa just left, but no, it's not a bad thing. She's gonna come back. It's a good thing. Everything's good." So he gets her some breakfast. They go back to his place. He's so tired, poor thing. Um, she tells him everything that happened. He tells her what happened. So basically, Amber was using the money that she was getting from the core people to fund her portion of the business that was supposed to be going, that was doing the IPO. Still some illegal shit. She still ain't no good. But Harlan was like, he wasn't gonna throw her in jail because of it. He has an investor that can probably come in and make sure that everything goes through, so that Logan will get his money back and even maybe get a profit. But it could take a while. It looks like he might be going to grad school. Actually, no, he's gonna go to grad school. He's gonna do a loan with his dad with like a reasonable interest rate, and then that way he's paying his father back. It won't be just he's getting more money from his dad. He also is going to check and see if some of the offers will maybe possibly pay for grad school and delay a year. We'll see if that works out. He's super tired. His eyes are falling asleep. They both go in the room and they fall asleep, but he says he wants to sleep naked, and she knows it's because he wants to wake up to have sex. So anyway, sure enough, when they wake up, well, she wakes up first. She starts massaging his dick. He's getting hard, and then she decides to go bareback. He's in the dream, and at first he's hearing her and she's saying like, it's me, you let me know if it's okay, I love you. She's saying all these things to him, and eventually he came to and he was able to kind of see that, okay, I don't have to allow Dr. Rogers to like take over my dreams and my life. And so they were able to have a good fuck, and now he seems more prepared to go forward with this trial. They go through the trial or his testimony. The whole time Dr. Rogers is looking at him, she'll look at him with lust. Her lawyers will kind of tell her to cut that shit out. She'll stop for a moment, but then she goes right back to looking at him with this lust. The jury could see it. So she's clearly going to get convicted after his testimony. His mom hugged him. His dad told him how proud he was. Jason was there, and he was happy to see him. It was just really sweet. Afterwards, they were going to go to lunch. Logan took his car. He took the long way there. He stopped at a park, and he told Ellie, I just need a moment to breathe. And he's decided, yeah, he's going to go to grad school, which I figured as much. When he said he might go to grad, I'm like, he's going to grad school. Um, and his dad told him that the money is going to come pretty soon. So he might not even have to get a loan from his dad to go to grad school. And he tells her the first thing he's going to do is buy a big rock. And she's like, we haven't even talked about marriage. And he says, well, would you be open to the idea of marrying me? And she was like, of course I would. And he says, when I actually I'm going to pull out all the stops and all this type of thing. And so he kisses her, and that is how it ends. I really like this. Um, I actually wanted more with the mother. I'm not even going to lie to you. I felt like the author focused a little bit too much on other things that we could have slimmed down, and I wanted more Melissa. There was such an anticipation. There's two fucking books, you know what I mean, of anticipation to meet her. I would have wanted to get her in maybe book two, just saying. And we could have maybe gone further out with their story. I don't know. But I did like it. I mean, the mother still is fucked up for screwing her son's, not her son, screwing her daughter's boyfriend. Again, there's a better way to show that someone's no good. Just saying. But she does seem as if she's trying to really change. But we kind of see where a lot of her mistakes were coming from, while she might have looked at her child as a certain way, because could have been a product of one of the worst nights of her life, right? So it's a lot with that. But I think now that everything's out in the open, they know Jason's the dad. The fact that she's happy to meet the other side of her, like she's so happy for her daughter. And none of us, I don't believe any of, I sure didn't, we didn't think that that was going to happen. I thought she was going to really try and destroy that relationship, but instead she's so freaking happy that that's who she has in her life. So that makes me happy. It was a good trilogy. Again, my only complaint, I wanted more Melissa cuz she was getting the business. She was getting the stuff. Like she found out Amber wasn't no good. I don't think it would have came out any other way. So, it works. What did you all think? Let me know. Drop down in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. If you are in the market for a beautiful notebook or journal, I do have those available. And the links are going to be available down below in the description section. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. And as always, I truly do thank you all for your support. And thank you for tuning in to the Always Reading Book Club.